All right, welcome back to another episode of the St. Louis Parish Podcast. Today I'm joined by Chris Holloway and Deirdre Gorman. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I have invited you guys on here to talk about something pretty important, and it is the Diocesan Work Camp, which I know both of you attended, kind of different roles. So for the people who don't know, could you give me just a brief introduction and essentially what role you were in as you attended work camp?
Sure. Work camp is a encounter with Christ through service in an intentional Catholic community. Mm-hmm. That's the big idea, is that you more deeply encounter Jesus by direct service to people that need it. Personally, I serve two roles: the Parish Stakeholder, which is basically the administrative individual in charge of the recruiting, fundraising, and executing work camp, and then also as an adult crew leader, which begins when you get to work camp and then you are running your crew of young people, none of which are usually from your parish. They come from all the other parishes in the diocese, and you are in charge of completing the job that the work camp office assigns you to do.
Gotcha. And then Deirdre?
And then I was one of the young people who worked to help the people who needed help.
And what year are you in high school?
I'm a rising junior.
Rising junior. Okay. So we had a teen who attended, and then stakeholder and adult crew leader. Chris, I know the stakeholder. I was never in the stakeholder position, but I worked very closely with him as the director of youth ministry. Could you tell me a little bit about what that role entails?
Sure. You're basically the go-to individual for the parish for all things related to work camp.
Okay.
You're in charge of scheduling the meetings. You're in charge of recruiting the campers, recruiting the adult volunteers, overseeing the fundraising, putting all the pieces together, making sure all the individuals have their required training, and then getting everyone to the step-off point, going to work camp. And once you've got everybody to work camp, the stakeholder role pauses until you get everybody back from work camp.
Gotcha.
Once that's complete, then your role as a stakeholder is over until the next year.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is a bit.
Yeah. So how did you, I guess, what called you to take on that role?
I felt called to do that role because there was a need in the parish at the time. Also because I have experience organizing and leading people through military service. Plus, I had a group of adult leaders that were crew leaders with me that I was able to delegate a lot of those responsibilities to, and they were able to just run and get those things done. And I knew that I had nothing to worry about if I was delegating fundraising to one of the leaders, that he would complete it without any trouble.
Gotcha. So you saw the need, you answered the call, and you had a good team.
Exactly.
Wow. Who asked you, or did you kind of hear about it through the grapevine?
Yeah, it really came up at the end of work camp last year, so the 2024 work camp, where I was an adult crew leader only.
Okay.
The Father Thompson actually needed someone to step up for this year to fill the role, and so I volunteered.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Like I said, I've seen what the role entails, and it's a good bit of work, and I'm sure we'll circle back to different aspects of the role, but I did want to talk to Deirdre. You're kind of our eyes and ears on the ground.
Yeah.
So I do want to know first, this is your first work camp experience,
Yes,
correct?
it is.
Okay. So my first question that I'm dying to know is, what did you expect? So before, we haven't gotten to work camp, who told you about it?
I think I've heard it. So I actually go to Good Shepherd too as well.
Okay.
And so I heard it through there when they would come in, after people would come and talk about it after Mass had ended. And then I also heard it when I would come to St. Louis Mass, and my parents had heard about it from so many different friends who have like big families when all their kids have gone. Mm-hmm. And my parents thought that it would be a really good like experience to try to do that. And I was definitely a little like weary of it at the first, because I thought it was going to be like very hardcore, and like, I mean, just the idea of like working really hard to fix things. I don't know, like outdoor work is difficult.
Sure. And
with the heat and everything. And yeah, so I heard about it, and my parents were like, we really think you should do this. And I thought, you know what? It's okay. I can do it. Yeah.
So, and I think most Catholic teens kind of know about work camp.
Yeah.
You see the flyers and things. You're like, oh, yeah. So like you said, you just kind of assume it's a manual labor camp.
Exactly, yes.
Which it has pros and cons. Like, oh, maybe I'll learn how to use tools and can do my own home projects. But as you found out, it's a little bit more than that. Okay, so now we're at work camp. Walk me through a day in the life, just an average day.
So we would wake up to very calming, soothing music. We would be, I don't know. It's very interesting. I don't know what would you describe the music as?
I'd say they're traditional wake up songs that the work camp has used for years.
Yeah.
I think Hakuna Matata is one of them. Where is my hairbrush?
Yes.
Is another one.
Yes. From VeggieTales.
Yep.
Yeah.
Classics.
So
you can't stay asleep to it.
Definitely not. But then, you get up and then you have to bring down your stuff to your certain place, your shower bag. They have a list of all the stuff that you need to have. And then you go to daily mass. And that was honestly really great. Recently, in the past 2 years, I would say, I've started liking church like I used to when I was younger. I was oh, I don't want to go. But I really liked going to daily mass. And I even came home and told my parents, we should start going to daily mass. I really liked it. So, you go to daily mass and then you go to get breakfast. And they call it breakfast to go. That's what they
breakfast
say.
to go.
Yeah, and then you get your breakfast and then you go to your van where your crew is and then you all eat together. Then on the way, then you leave and then you do a devotional on the way to your site. You do all the work at your site, and then on the drive back you do another devotional and then get showered, and then you go to dinner and then program, which is it changes each night, but it's super fun. And then you go to, I guess the Stakeholder actually does do something, because we do the parish groups at night.
Parish groups in the evening.
Parish groups in the evening, and then you go to sleep.
Gotcha. Yeah, so full days.
Yes, full days.
And not just manual labor.
Definitely not, no. And I thought it was going to be so much more. Because thinking, 6 or 7 hours?
Yeah, it's a 7-hour workday.
Yeah, to think.
Which is a full work day.
Yeah, to see that and think about that in your head, it's whoa, that's a lot. But I think when you're there, it doesn't really seem like that long, especially because if you get to know your crew and your project and when you get water breaks and stuff, in food, it really goes by so fast.
Did you make any new friends?
Yes.
I know that sounds kind of like a cliche question, but I'm curious to know, because you're in a group with strangers, essentially.
Yes, exactly. So that's another thing is, I'm pretty extroverted, but it's weird to go to work with people that you have no idea, but it's really good how they do it at work camp, because you don't know your crew, your leader, your contractor, or the people who you're helping. So if they think oh my gosh, this is crazy, well, we're meeting each other for the first time too, not just them,
Yeah.
So I think it makes it better for everybody. So yeah.
It's not just everybody knows each other and you're the odd man out.
Exactly.
Because everybody, it's level playing field, kind of forces you, to get out of your comfort zone and introduce yourself. And I'm sure you bond. It's a sweaty, dirty kind of.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, you're going to see my sweaty armpits. So here we are. And then you're going to sit in the van with me and we're going to stink up the van. And
yeah, definitely.
The diocese does that intentionally. They schedule the crews to have no one from the same parish.
Yeah.
They break everybody up across all the crews. And I believe this time there were, 135 crews.
Wow.
So call it approximately
right.
820 youth, about 350 adult volunteers. So in this school, you've got roundabout, plus the other staff people, probably about 1,200 people at home base, of which 850 are the youth, and then another 135 adult crew leaders that are all going out and doing work for 6 days, basically. And everyone meets everyone either for the first time or pretty close to the first time, unless they know them from other places. Yeah. And they do that on purpose, because the idea is that you meet and bond, and then when you meet your resident, the person that you're doing the work for, you're meeting your friends for the first time, you're meeting them for the first time, and then everybody just gets into the position of getting comfortable with being a little bit out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's great. I believe it's Ed and Jamie over at the diocesan office. They got a whole department just devoted to work camp, because as you just outlined, it's a huge project, huge endeavor, thousands of people, lots of organizations. So I love hearing you talk about it, because it makes me happy to know that good work is being put into this and it's bearing so much fruit. Okay, so I'd like to know what maybe your favorite moments or some highlights of the week were. Deirdre, do you want to go first?
So I definitely was very I don't know, worried about this, or not even worried. I was just like, oh, this is going to be so boring. But confession was honestly, like, we had all day, or not all day, but like all program adoration on Wednesday. And I don't know, usually as like a 16-year-old, you're not going to want to go to adoration for 2 hours.
Yeah, that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it definitely, like, it turned out to be one of like the best like 2 hours of my life. And I'm not just saying that for this podcast, but I'm being serious. I talked to my parents about it. It was just like so beautiful to be around so many people, like the amount of people, to see the confession lines, to see how many people. I feel like that was just such like a raw experience that you only can understand like the beauty of it if you were there. But do you have anything to say on that?
Sure. Yeah. What Deirdre's talking about is on Wednesday night?
Yeah, Wednesday
night. What the diocese does is they bring a whole lot of parish priests to work camp, to home base. And that's for the listeners. That is a high school or middle school. For us, it was a high school where everybody sleeps and everybody's kind of under the same roof. They bring about 45 priests?
Yeah, it was a lot.
More?
I mean, I think I saw like Father Ricky, Father Mulaney, and Father Thompson was there too, right? Yeah, so
Father
3 from us, yeah.
Wow.
And so a whole number of priests come, and then the bishop attends, and he leads adoration, which the way they do it is pretty amazing. The program room is usually a multi-purpose room or a school gym, really, really big room. And they create a path on the floor through which the bishop walks while doing the adoration. And the audience, all the people, are sitting down on the floor. And so the bishop is walking the Blessed Sacrament through the people, stopping and turning, and the spotlight is shining, and it's really amazing.
Yeah.
And during that process, there's some backup music. It's worship music. It's wonderfully done. And in this particular time, a number of people...
I was going to say,
Yeah, so why don't you tell that story?
Wait, are you talking about when
the music? Yeah.
Okay, so I was actually going to say this story. So I think it was probably towards the end, maybe in like the middle end half, and the music completely cut out. And the people just got louder. Like, everybody just like stepped it up, and everyone was just like... It was insane because some people didn't realize that it cut out. I mean, I kind of like heard it, and you know, it was just really cool to see everybody like came together and was like louder than they were before.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're saying the music shorted out, like power went
it
out.
did completely.
Not intentional.
Right. Yeah, they had an equipment failure, and the professional musicians, they're really amazing.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And the music just died, and everybody just sung right through it, kept the time, kept the beat, and I want to say, did they bring it back in, or how do they do it when the music came back up? I don't even remember.
I think it was just all like such a...
and everybody talked about it. It was like, everybody talked about it. It was like how cool that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like
it was very unifying.
the testimonies and stuff. Like, everyone talked about it.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really neat. And then during that time, they have all those parish priests are down receiving confessions and administering that sacrament. And it's...
The lines, it's like 15 different lines. Like, it's insane. Like, super long. And they had like a certain spot that you were supposed to be if you're in the bathroom line. But I was like asking someone like, oh wow, like there's a lot of people going to the bathroom. And they're like, oh no, they just completely forgot about the bathroom line. And now that's just the confession line.
And do you remember what you had to do when you like entered the line and walked to the table where your confessor was? Do you remember what you had to do?
Plug your ears.
Yeah. So everybody walks down the hallway with their ears plugged.
Yeah, you plug your ears because there's so many of the like makeshift confessionals, you know?
Yep.
So
and they're all face to face.
Yes.
Wow. I had there's a seminarian here for the summer. His name's John Mullen. Do you guys know John?
Yeah.
Okay. So John was telling me, the kind of security attendants walking people to confession had earplugs for that reason, because you got 1,500 people in a hallway, or at least a school, but close quarters, and you don't want to be listening to something private.
Well, definitely, like, when I was walking back from dinner, because, like, they have, at least at the school that we were at, there was, like, the cafeteria that you could have that food, but then there was also, like, the snack shack that was outside. So I was walking back through the hallways with my friends, and I was like, oh, my gosh, like, it seemed, like, closer than it was. Like, when I was actually sitting in confession, it was not as close as I thought it was, but I was really having doubts, like, oh, man, I really don't know if I want to be that close.
Oh,
but,
you saw them as they were setting up for it.
Oh, yeah, when they were setting up for it, and I was a little bit worried, and I was even thinking like maybe I shouldn't even go to confession. But when I did, I realized like it was they set it out perfectly. Like it was really perfect. Yeah.
That's amazing. The music cutting out and the people singing even louder. That's just like a beautiful, I think, symbol of how God can take something bad, turn into something good.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was incredible. And that is the adoration night and the confession night is very common highlight
Yes.
for work camp. One that I saw as an adult that I thought was pretty cool is everybody's new. Everybody comes together as a crew, and then you arrive at work camp on a Saturday. Sunday, you do a whole day of team building,
yeah.
fun activities, some games, team building stuff. Really, really fun. And then Monday is your first day at the work site. Now, our week that we went was during the heat wave. It was really, really hot.
Oh, yeah.
And the average temperature was, 92 to 94. We had no rain until, what was it, Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, it was always like at the very end of the workday.
Yeah.
So that was good. At least at my side it was.
Yeah, not much rain, really, really hot. And Monday, everybody's kind of quiet and getting acclimatized and sweating a lot. And the adults are basically saying, drink water every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday, to me, it seemed, is where it all gelled. People got their bodies acclimatized. Everybody was excited. We had a cohesive mission and a cohesive group. And by the end of the day on Tuesday, because you leave the work site at around 4 p.m., so you've been working 7 hours or so, 8 hours, and they're singing. People are praying rosary while they're working. They're laughing. They're making jokes. And you almost had to pull them off the work site because it was time to go.
Wow.
Did you have that same experience or maybe something like it?
Yes, yeah. I was just going to say that reminded me that there's also jobs within like the crew itself. So I don't know if I can list all of them, but
yeah, I'll help you.
I was a safety inspector, which made me think of it because I had to make sure everyone was drinking water. And I really like that aspect to it, that we together also had like special jobs within there.
Yeah.
So do you remember all
Yeah,
of the
I think
jobs?
so. The adults are responsible for assigning roles. Everybody gets a role. And so you were the safety inspector?
I was the safety
And our safety inspector was great. And she was in charge of making sure that nobody took their eye protection off, which was awesome.
That too.
Yep.
Yes.
Hearing protection, very important when you're on the power tools. And then water. Besides the safety inspector, there is the devotion leader. And so that person does the discussions, runs the discussions. So the youth are in charge of everything. They run the discussions on the spiritual topics in the car on the way to the work site, in the car on the way back to work site, back to home base, and then during lunch. So that's the devotional leader that does that. Then there's the dynamo, who is in charge of keeping motivation up, keeping people happy and, psyched up, and also is in charge of, or were you in charge of the water? Were you in charge of the water?
Yes, I had to bring the water cooler.
Yeah, the 30-gallon water jugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the safety inspector's in charge of the water. And then there's also...
Environmental person?
Yeah, the environmental person. Oh, and the project lead. The project coordinator.
Oh, and the liaison person,
yeah,
too.
That's it. Yeah. And those people work with the work camp office to keep tabs on how the project is going so that you don't arrive at the end of the week and then the resident has holes in their walls because windows haven't been finished, or a hole in their roof because the roofing's not done.
Exactly.
Gotcha. And that way that like during the week, the work camp office gets a feel of what projects need additional resources and might need some additional help. And so things kind of change at the end of the week depending on how everybody's project is going.
And I think that this probably sounds like so much, but I was worried about it too, because sometimes I have, I like to know what's like expectations, like exactly, what's going to happen, like scheduled. And they make it really easy to like know what you need to do and know where you're going. Because I was kind of worried, like I've never been here before, but they make it so easy. And that's really like, you're probably like overwhelmed with how much information. But honestly, then it seems like a lot, but then when you're there, it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
really
very,
easy.
very well organized.
Yeah, like very well organized.
Yeah. And so each youth has a job during the entire week, basically, and gets that job and holds it for the entire week. And then the adult is just expected to manage, make sure everything's going right, make sure that safety is being followed, and occasionally get your hands dirty by swinging a hammer and pulling down a window or keeping things fun.
I think work camp does a great job of kind of including all aspects of, I'll call it human life, right? You're working hard, you're working outside, so you're using your hands, and then you are forced into this new environment with new people you never met, so you got to make friends. So the social community is there. And then you start the day with Mass and you end with an evening program, which is also rooted in prayer. So it's kind of like you have your community, you have your work, and you have your prayer. It's all kind of bundled into this 1 week-long experience. And I think that's what people don't expect. I don't know if that was your experience.
Yeah, definitely. People really go like all in. And I mean, I definitely saw people from like other schools that I just know through like different things. And it was like really cool to see those people there and to be like, to see them going full into the faith too. Because I think sometimes it can be hard to like fully embrace the faith, especially at a younger age.
I don't know if you had this experience, Deirdre, but when I was the director of youth ministry here, we had a couple teens that were just coming along because their friend was a parishioner. Oh. And they weren't Catholic. Some of them were, but you have kind of different levels of involvement in the church. So for some people, they've never really seen confession, or they have very minimal experience with it. You see this amazing, beautiful experience, very powerful. It has the potential to really change the course of their life. Did you see any of that? Did you know anybody who was maybe like on the fence, let's say, with the church, but then had this great experience and maybe changed their minds a little bit?
I think you.
And it's okay if you didn't.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I think like you can just see it through the people. Like you can see. I mean, who knows? Maybe they were just more like introverted or whatever, and they warmed up to everyone. Not just in my group. I'm just saying generally speaking. But I think you can just see like the joy, especially on the last day, like when all the people came.
Right.
All of the residents. But there was actually a girl in my group who was kind of on the fence, like you said, and she definitely like fully embraced it, and even told us at the end of the week, like, yeah. I'm really considering like going back to my faith.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chris, did you see anything? Like, you're watching the evolution in real time. I know you were there and you're at the worksite in the crew, but I feel like you have a little bit of a more broader perspective than maybe the teens that are doing the actual work.
Yeah, I didn't witness that in my work group. And in fact, this last work camp was really fun because we had a double project team. So there were two teams assigned to one project. And that meant that we kind of came together as one large team. And that was fun because all the personalities happened to work out really well. Yeah. Apparently it doesn't always work out that way. But for us, it was fantastic. I didn't see any of what you're describing in my crew. However, there were a number of testimonials of people that during the week that youth said that. And they said that like the year before, for example, they were really on the fence and they just didn't know what to do. And they came to work camp and that really energized them and caused them to really dedicate themselves to the faith. And I totally believe it. In fact, we had you mentioned John Mullen, the seminarian, who's assigned to St. Louis for the summer. They sent him out to work camp for the whole week to do liturgical duties. And so we saw him around all the time, and he was a huge help and joined our parish for parish discussions. It was awesome. The other crew that was assigned to my project had a seminarian as an adult crew leader. And he expressed a very similar testimonial where he was heading away from the faith and then attended work camp because his parents made him go. And it had an amazing effect on him. And now he's I believe, fourth-year seminarian.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
From on the fence to now middle of seminary.
Yeah, they do a really good job of making like you want to be part of the faith, and like you're like, wow, this is something I really want to be part of, instead of something that's like, I don't know, forced on you. Yeah.
What do you think you could bring back? John and I were talking about this, kind of speculating. Like, you had this amazing experience, you're with hundreds of other teens, but eventually it ends. Do you have any maybe idea of what you could bring back and maybe let it flow through the rest of your life? Kind of a loaded question. And I'm just springing it on you. So it's okay if you need to think about it.
I'll take the heat off you for a minute. You think about it while I'm talking. One thing about work camp is that I like to have work camp be work camp. So not that you're different when you're back, but you're in the moment while you're there. And then when you're there and when it's over, it's complete. And then, maybe you go the next year. Yeah. And that's awesome. What you can bring back from it, though, is not really bringing work camp home, but you can bring the intentionality for the practice of your faith home. So one way you can do that is by, if you're doing a job, if you're studying, if you're doing your daily life, you can begin it with prayer. Yeah. You can end it with prayer. And just like at work camp where we wrap and integrate aspects of the faith throughout the entire workday, you can bring that home to whatever your daily life is like and whatever vocation you have.
That's awesome. My answer to when I was talking with John about it was like the authenticity, because work camp, really does a great job of breaking down all those barriers. Like, they throw you into essentially a really awkward situation. Like, you don't know anybody and you're going to do a bunch of really hard work. And I think breaking down those walls, your genuine self comes out. So that was my answer when I was talking with John. John agreed with me.
What was the motto? What was their tagline?
Oh, lean into it.
Yeah. What about that?
Oh, there you go.
So the whole thing is that, you know, if the first day you're really like worried to use a certain power tool, and then maybe the next day you just like, I don't know, even just put the screw in to the tool that you're using, and then the next day then you actually use the screw gun. So that's kind of like their whole thing. That's like an example.
Kind of be okay with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Does that carry through, like that's a standard work camp model, or was that just kind of specific to this year?
I think that's the whole the whole thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you're uncomfortable, it's okay to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And this year in particular, because of the heat, you know, you got to get sweaty, and you just you learn to love the sweat and the dirt.
Yeah.
And you come back from the workday and you're covered with construction dust, and except for your eyes, because you've been wearing your safety glasses the whole time. And, it's in your hair, and you're sweaty and disgusting. And, you know, they won't let you in the building until you go to the outdoor showers. This year they were, I think, indoor, right, for everybody? Or did they have the outdoor ones?
No, they had, I think it was about, oh my gosh, it was a lot. I think it's 40 or 50 outdoor showers that they build before.
Wow.
So it's like half of it's for boys and half of it's for girls. And then just based off of the school, they actually did have indoor showers as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but outside, but it's really cool actually. That's another really cool experience. I would add that on top of the confession for like really good moments, because at least in the girls' showers, everyone would just be like, someone would just start singing a song that like everybody knows, and then everyone would just be like singing. And then there was actually this one day when there was probably the biggest bug I've ever seen in my whole life, and it was like cute. I don't even know what kind of bug it was. I actually want to know, but it was probably like about this big. It was huge. Wow. And and everyone was like screaming, you know, and it was really cool because like everyone came together trying to figure out ways to kill it, and it was just like really funny. And I know that sounds like silly, but it was really cool actually to see everyone come together.
Yeah.
And it's just part of the experience that all definitely. the lack of creature comforts is done intentionally, aside from having a safe and consistent work environment. But the lack of creature comforts is done intentionally to allow the adults and the youth to set aside some of their, you know, previous things that they leaned on, and just be okay with not being super comfortable all the time.
Totally. Sleeping on the floor.
Yep.
That's not ideal. I'll just put it that way. And then I know they take your phones.
Yes.
Yeah. How was that?
So I definitely thought that it was going to be rough. I definitely thought like, oh my gosh, it is kind of crazy. Like the first day you are thinking like, whoa, all my friends are having a life right now. Like, what are they doing? You know? And it's hard to like not stay in the loop. And I think like even like the news, like it's difficult not to have a clue like what's going on. But I think that's really just more of like anxiety in the beginning. Like it's just you thinking like what could happen. But when you're there, you never think about it. And it was really lucky because my cousin was able to come with me and we're really close. So it was really cool to be able to like be with him, and you know, like sometimes we'll go on Instagram Reels, for example, and it was cool to like hang out completely without like any, just to like connect, and even with other people too, because everyone was just talking all the time and you had to talk, and you couldn't just like, if someone was like, oh, I don't know if I want to be in this conversation, they couldn't just go on their phone, and you definitely don't think about it like afterwards. And when I came home, I even like my parents were like, here's your phone, and I was like, I don't know.
Wow.
Like I definitely was like, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah. I totally get that. Chris, I think you have to keep your phone for safety.
They do. The adults are we have to keep our phones on us because the project office is contacting us during the day to see how the project is going, and if, you know, hopefully not, but if someone gets injured, we need to be able to act on that quickly.
Right.
And it's funny though, because the staff at the beginning of each day says, okay, adults, turn your phones on, just to remind everybody to actually turn them on. But I did remember I felt compelled to be very sparing with whenever I had that thing out.
Yeah.
Because it takes away from the time that you're present. And that's the reason why they don't permit them for the students, is because they want you to be fully present.
Right.
And I felt it conspicuously. If I had to be on the phone to talk to the project office or whatever, like I'm not really in the moment right now. Like I'm not there.
Yeah, I definitely felt that when I came home and my parents were talking to me, and I was like, wait, it's so weird that I can, of course I've had my phone forever, but it's weird that I was talking to all my other friends who were like miles away from my house, and like my parents were right there at like talking about work camp, like how was it? And I thought that was like really weird to go from, you know, not even thinking about it and just being like, well, of course I can text my friend, or of course I can call them, instead of like focusing really like what's in front of me.
Yeah.
So I think that really like helped.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And that's a big deal now. Kids are getting phones younger and younger. So it's cool to hear from you, like, yeah, I was a little worried, but then I actually really liked it. And then I came back and I was kind of weary of my phone after that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really cool. So Chris, I have a question for you. You were in charge of volunteer recruitment, correct?
Yes.
So we're going to close out here pretty soon, but I wanted to ask if you had maybe any words of encouragement for the adults out there that are listening. So one, how the experience affected you, and again, any words of encouragement for some adults, because I know that can be a difficult part of the process, getting adult volunteers, because if you don't have enough volunteers, you can only have so many teens.
That's right. Yeah, the diocese has very strict numbers about however many work campers you have, or how many young people you have, requires a certain number of crew leaders, and it requires a certain number of security volunteers. So if you don't have those adult volunteers, you can't take the kids. And so that's important that we get adult participation. The cool thing is that there is something that any parent or any adult volunteer can do. If you are sophomore in college, so rising sophomore, they allow graduated seniors to attend. Graduated high school seniors can go to work camp as a student. So it's basically rising sophomores to graduated seniors in high school who can attend as campers.
Right.
If you're past that, but you're below the age of 25, you can volunteer as a home-based volunteer, which is super fun. So you're the young adults there wearing the yellow shirts, and you're doing everything from managing program, running the AV equipment, flying the UAVs with the cameras that are taking pictures of people going to the work sites, all kinds of fun stuff. Putting the videos together, putting them on YouTube. Lots of stuff for young volunteers under the age of 25. 25 and up, you can be an adult crew leader. Super rewarding, probably the mountaintop experience for an adult volunteer. It's because you're with the kids, the youth, you're working toward a goal, you're watching the formation happen in real time, and to be quite honest, you are influencing and connecting with them in a way that's very difficult to replicate in any other environment. Really cool. Adult crew leader of all ages, highly recommended. Probably the most rewarding role. Security volunteers are another role, which are absolutely necessary for the parish to provide. They are the adults that ensure that the work camp environment is safe and secure 24 hours a day for the 6 days that we're there at home base. They watch the doors. They mind the front so that only badged people can come in and out, and things like that. The parish sends volunteers, and we have to recruit those. Sometimes those are challenging to get because people have to take time off work in order to do that.
Right.
And then also throw a shout out to the dedicated volunteers who prepare the lunches. There are volunteers that do that, and that is very, very important, and usually an unsung role. The lunch at work camp is one of the things that work camp does. So it's not a very fancy lunch. It's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a cheese sandwich for folks that have peanut allergies, or any other type of food modification for folks that can't eat either of those things. But it's a plain lunch, and everybody sits down and eats it together, and you provide one for your resident contractor. Everybody eats the same food, and nobody gets anything special. And so there's good food, very nourishing, very healthy, but it's not fancy.
Yeah.
And so our parish volunteers prepare those lunches and then take them out. And if you think about it, 1,250 lunches every day for 6 days.
For 6 days.
Yeah. That's a lot of lunches that people in the parishes are making.
Yeah.
So that's a big role as well. That's another place that volunteers can step in. And then there's always fundraising. That's another way to help as well.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask, what if I'm an adult and I really want to help the mission of work camp, but I just can't go for the week? Are there kind of tiers of volunteering that I can do? So top tier would be adult crew leader maybe, or a role that involves being present on site for 6 days a week. Is there something that I could do, maybe just one day, kind of drop by? What would be something I could do?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be the security volunteer. Typically, the parish gets assigned one day, usually a 7 to 8 hour block, and then you show up and you essentially stand a post for 7 to 8 hours, just making sure that people aren't leaving or coming in that ought not to be.
Yeah.
Or other things very similar to that. And then you're done. So it's really like one day. And, it's going to involve a 2.5 hour drive to get to home base.
Sure.
Because work camp happens usually in a disadvantaged portion of the diocese. So it's going to be a couple hours from here.
Yeah.
And this year we went to Quicksburg, which is down in the southwest corner of the state. Last year we were up in Winchester, which is up in the northwest corner of the state.
Gotcha.
We're expecting to be back in Quicksburg again next year and probably for the next couple of years.
Yeah, from my site, we could literally see JMU. So,
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one way that an adult who wishes to help but can only do it for a limited time can help is by being a security volunteer.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Deirdre, I have a question for you, kind of similar to Chris's question, but for the teens that are on the fence, anything you would say to them?
I honestly would just do it, and I think that that's difficult, but I think that there's that gut intuition if you're thinking about it, which means that you should. That goes back to the if you're on the fence about the religion in general, you should just go for it because you're thinking about it. And just kind of lean into it. So I would just lean into it and just do it because it's only a week of your life. So if you absolutely hate it, which I do not think someone would, but if you do, if you think that you will, you definitely won't, and it's okay. I just think it's it's a really good experience on so many different fronts. So
very cool. Are you going to go again next year?
Yes.
That's awesome. So what if someone tells you that their parents are making them go? Still good?
I still think it's fine because that's kind of the situation that I was in. I was just up for it. But I definitely think that if you are being forced by your parents to just embrace the whole experience, because if it seems, I don't know, I feel usually if someone's being so over the top with something, usually they're the odd man out. But at work camp, it is the complete opposite. If you are sitting by yourself, or if you're just sitting all quiet and not participating, you are the odd man out. So I think you should really, really just embrace it, because, and then you'll find yourself having so much fun. Yeah. And then you'll realize oh my gosh, this is such a cool experience. But yeah, do you agree that you definitely are definitely singled out if you're being quiet? And
yeah, I would say that you don't see it very much. You really don't.
No,
but for someone who, if someone's truly not having a good time and they're sitting by themselves, you're probably not going to see it because they're not going to be sitting by themselves for long.
Yeah, because someone's going to come
them and sit down and start talking to them. And you see those smiles show back up pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd say the same thing. There are certainly kids there, youth there, whose parents have made them go. But for the vast majority of those young people that are kind of voluntold, they have a fantastic experience, and I've seen that over and over.
That's awesome. So parents, make your kids go. That's the moral
and kids
of the story.
embrace it and lean into
definitely.
it. And a week of adversity does wonders for the soul.
Guys, thank you so much for being on here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.